Hello guys, today we're going to talk about part 1 of Camp Nowhere. This one came out on March 9th, 2002. It is TVY7, of course. It has an 8.3 out of 10 on IMDb with about 50 user votes. It's directed by James Marshall, who was he was a producer on Smallville, which is huge. Directed Into the Badlands, so he's not one to mess around with at all. It stars Kyle Gibson. Let's see what he's all about. My computer's being weird. Alright, Kyle Gibson. He was in he was in the show Get Real. Yeah, not a lot of big stuff here. Kinda did late 90s, early 2000s, and that seems kind of it. Nothing really super, like, notable, but, you know, it's a thing. And Sam Jones, who was in Smallville too. Actually, a good chunk of Smallville, like, throughout the series, which is pretty good work there. I also want to know that this episode also stars Allison Mack, who was in Smallville too, and she's the one that ran into the controversy, and that's as much I'm gonna go with that. um, yeah. So yeah, with this, well, really, this two-parter here. Really, when we get to part 2, we're just gonna talk about part 2. This is gonna be tricky for me because I'm unable to rewatch them. So basically, what this is Russell is reluctant to go to Camp Hawkwood's senior experience haunted cabin, especially since, heard stories of campers disappearing. Yeah. Night before, a message warning going against going in somehow engraved in the cabin floor. The night they go, Dave is trapped in the sleeping bag, almost slipped through the floor. Next morning, shenanigans. And before you know it, things really get weird. And yeah, that's part 1. Now, I remember this episode. However, it's one of those things where I don't quite remember how it ends. Might have to do a little digging for part 2, but it's interesting because this episode, it's kind of built similar to, like, that weird pseudo two-parter, but not really a two-parter where it's the same cast but 2 different stories. It's kind of like that. It kind of has I think some of them may have actually been in that episode, to be honest. So it's kind of interesting that they kind of went that route. It's interesting seeing this done as a two-parter also. Acting for the kids is actually not that bad. When I first watched it, even now, I keep comparing it to the Welcome to Camp Nightmare Goosebumps episode. There's a lot of parallels there, but I think what makes this one different than Camp Nightmare is that Camp Nightmare was there wasn't a lot of supernatural stuff going on necessarily. It was very much attitude driven. This one, there was a lot more fuckery at place with this one. And yeah, and the cast of kids, it's typical kid acting. The main kid is pretty solid. He's kind of the grounded base of the group. I remember liking it pretty good. I will say I think there's a reason why it's surprising. It's actually one of the lower rated episodes of this short series, and I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that it is a haunted camp story, and those kind of have been done. I mean, this show has done a good job of, like, putting twists on things that have been done before, but I don't know or think they quite got it on this one. I think because it was I think at this point the series was kind of becoming tuckered out, and I think they were kind of like, okay, let's cap it off now. I know they were kind of, side note, they were kind of planning on a season 2, but the show just didn't get ratings. It was too late. I mean, everyone who grew up with Are You Afraid of Dark and Goosebumps were grown up. They were doing other things. The next gen didn't want to watch the stuff that were watched in the previous gen. They were into other things. So this show just didn't have the audience it needed to survive, which is unfortunate because this show had potential to really be good. It just came too late. But yeah, specifically with this episode, I think it's good. I think everything's handled well. Special effects, I don't quite remember, unfortunately, how well executed those were. I assume they were probably fine for the time and everything. The only thing I say to keep in mind with this is that even though it is the final two-parter, I'm just gonna say that I'm not saying they're not bad, but if you're gonna select a list of episodes to watch from the series, like a select few of the 13, because there's only 13, and the episodes are like 20-minute episodes. It's like you can breeze through the series easy. But if you're gonna select a select few, I wouldn't pick the two-parter. There was definitely episodes in the series that I felt like were a lot stronger to put in. Even look at the approval ratings. I mean, it's not like these things are based on like 10 or 15 people. They're based in like the 40s to the 60s. So it's a good chunk of like it's like a decent. It's like a town hall meeting of people saying, "Yeah, this is 9 out of 10." I mean, that's not a bad way to look at it. Even though it's not in the hundreds, I mean, double digits. It's still double digits above like 20. I think can be considered pretty solid. Um, but yeah, this is it's still good. I still recommend it. Watching it this first part and of course two part. We'll talk about that in the next video. But recommend talking about them. I mean, watching them at least once. I mean, there's not really a whole lot of episodes I would say that about in this series. To be honest, the series has been very consistent. I just think this last two-parter, I think they were kind of, I wouldn't say running on fumes, but they were anticipating to be running on fumes, if that makes any sense. But yeah, we'll talk about part two in the next episode, and then we'll do the series summary. And I'll also, in that summary, I'll kind of update where I'm going to go from here for vlog series, like any next ones. I know the pattern, just a sneak peek here, I know the pattern has been small, big, but to be honest, sorry about that. But to be honest, I think I might do another small one. A lot of stuff's happening around in my life, and I kind of want the flexibility. And plus, I got a lot of video projects planned for the next year, a ton. I got a lot of stuff that's close to being complete for me to really go into, and I want to have the freedom to explore them. So it's gonna be a little weird for the upcoming year. There's gonna be a lot of different things. So I kind of want the flexibility of a shorter show. So I might go that route. I don't know. I've been dying to do Are You Afraid of the Dark, but it's just not in the cards quite yet. There's another show, but I'll talk about that in the series summary. I'm getting way too ahead of myself. Um, but yeah, guys. That's all I have to say. I say check it out at least once for sure. This part one, and of course, we'll talk about part two next episode for sure. But yeah, guys, thanks for watching. In case you want to chat with me, Mike, or anyone else at the Campy Company, you don't want to use the YouTube comment section, we do have a couple options. First one is we have a Discord channel. You can find a link to that in the About page / About section of our channel. We also have a discussion tab in our channel as well, and can access that through a PC or laptop computer. But yeah, guys, thanks for watching. Please subscribe and like the videos, and have a good day.